I never called myself a perfectionist until I stopped being one. So in my mind, perfectionists were people who kept going no matter what, striving, pushing, never satisfied, always raising the bar, and that wasn't me, because I also gave up. When something felt too hard or too risky or too likely to go wrong, I would just stop. And what I didn't see then is that the giving up was part of it. That quitting before my own verdict would come in, it's its own kind of perfectionism. Because if you never really try, you never really fail. And you never have to face what you say to yourself when you do. Perfectionism doesn't always look the way we think it does. Sometimes it looks like striving, but sometimes it looks like procrastination, or over-preparing, or starting things and abandoning them before anyone notices, or saying yes to things you know you will do flawlessly and then avoiding everything else, or holding yourself to a standard you would never apply to someone you love. Does any of that sound familiar? So here is what I think is at the heart of most perfectionism. It's actually not about the work. It's about what the work proves. When I was pushing myself to achieve things, I was going back to study, completing a research master with young kids, barely sleeping, pursuing a PhD. I told myself it was because I cared about the work. And I did, but underneath that, if I'm honest, I was also trying to prove something. That I was smart enough, that I was worthy enough, that I had earned my place. The problem with proving is that it never finishes, because there's always another bar, always another thing to get right before you can rest. Always another reason why this one doesn't quite count yet. What changed for me wasn't a decision to lower my standards, because I still deeply care about what I do. What changed was why I was doing it. So in the week I was about to defend my PhD thesis, I noticed that something had shifted. I had been practicing self-gentleness for a while by then, and I noticed that the prestige of the whole thing had dropped away. I wasn't doing it to prove anymore. I was doing it because I had loved the research, because I was proud of the work itself. And when I got the result, a PhD, I could actually let it in. Not as proof, but as something good that had happened. And that's a completely different experience. Perfectionism loosens when the relationship with yourself changes. Not when you try harder to be less perfect, and not when you tell yourself it is okay to make mistakes. Those things can help a little. But the deeper shift happens when you no longer need the outcome to tell you that you are enough. When you can do something well and receive that without it having to mean something enormous about your worth. And when something doesn't go well, you can meet that with something other than that familiar harsh voice. And that voice, by the way, is not your consciousness. It's not helpful feedback. It is internalized pressure of a long time believing that your value was conditional. And you can start to disagree with it. You don't have to argue back, but consistently, gently, offering yourself something different. And that is what I call the self-gentleness perspective. Self-gentleness is the practice of radically accepting yourself as the most important person to consistently deserve your own gentleness. And for perfectionists especially, that word consistently matters. Because the tendency will be to be self-gentle when you have earned it, when the work was good enough, when you handled things well. The practice is to do it anyway, especially then, especially when you didn't. You don't have to stop caring about what you do, and you don't have to lower your bar. You just have to stop making your worth depend on clearing it. And that's the whole shift. And it's available to you, gradually, incrementally, and for life. If you're curious where you are in your self-gentleness process right now, I made a short quiz that might help you see yourself a little bit more clearly. You'll find the link below, and if it resonated, I would love for you to subscribe. I make one video every week, and this is exactly the kind of things we explore. I will see you in the next one. Sending you my love. Bye-bye.